Ta-da! Welcome, guys, to Astrology and Alchemy with your hosts, Sarah and Matt. I do hope you guys are doing well today. I was just kind of unloading on Matt, as we often do sometimes before the show when things start to unravel. I am in the middle of a panic attack. So if anybody in the chat room is like, Sarah, why do you sound and look different, aka poopy? I have anxiety. I don't have it so badly anymore. I've been doing really well with it, but like lately, I don't know. But I'm in a hotel. I'm in somewhere new, and I got a ticket on the way here, and like just little things. And then I remembered I forgot to eat today, and like then I start having a moment, and then it just is like a thing, Matt. And so Matt was being very generous and absorbing that. But if anybody in the chat room says I look like I'm next to death, I know. I already know this. Thank you. Don't even say so, or I'll be angry. Happy Tuesday, man.
Yeah, we haven't been on together in a while.
I know it's been a few weeks because of life.
Yeah. And I'm honestly, I was just because of life, just exhausted heading into this. So I feel like I am, you're in a panic attack, and I feel like I'm very low energy. And then my camera wasn't working, and my computer crashed 2 minutes before we started. So that's why we're getting a late start tonight.
It's fine. We're gonna make it. We're gonna be fine. Things
and I'm wondering if my camera's actually dying, because I feel like I'm looking very washed out. I feel like I'm looking very.
You're looking foggy.
Yeah.
You're looking like you're in a remastered Stevie Nicks video.
Yeah, it's not looking good. So we'll see. It may.
It's gonna work just fine. We are gonna make it happen, and I appreciate it that
smoke.
You and I showed.
I'll blame it on the smoke. You don't have this in Minnesota. All those fires in Canada. It's like
we do. We did.
As I say, people can't like breathe and crap here.
Yeah. Do you see I call it my little dinosaur gullet here? I don't always have this, by the way, guys. Okay. This is when I can't breathe because of all the shit in the air, and because of it's really fun out there. It's fun being a human. You've got wildfires very close to you, though, so it is the fog.
That's what I'll say. I'll say the smoke's infiltrated my house, so that really hasn't, but it'll. It's nicer than just my camera's not working and I look like all washed out.
Right. And then the chat room said, and you're broadcasting with a halo, which where you're sitting, the little light refracting out of the window is giving you a very angelic look. So last week, I feel like I was kind of sporadic. I went through my June, like all the I kind of, because I was trying to prepare for the show this week, and I hadn't gotten my shit together, guys. So that beginning of the month to sit down and do the June, since we didn't have a show last week together, I took that time to kind of prep, and I feel very prepared. So Field Guy, Brandy, Jenny, Jester, John, Matt, John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Schmidt, and all the people. We've waited a few minutes for you guys to join in. I think we can maybe start. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I just saw it. This is probably like a bird or something. It's totally pitch black. The window right behind me. It's something went like right past the window. So that's why I had that weird look. Sorry.
The messengers are with us. And I need to turn off. You know how it is in a hotel. Watch this. Watch how quiet it's going to get when I turn this off. You can hear me. Good. So there we go. That was another big thing. All right, guys. So I do want to say Tuesday, that's today, Tuesday the 6th. There's no major astrological movements, but there is a lingering. And I want to mention the lingering. Let it linger. Because I myself, in these panicked moments, like, why am I having anxiety? Are there solar flares? Is there something going on? Like, what's happening right now? I look to the astrology too to see, like, it has recently been a full moon, so we're kind of waning. And, I wanted to get your thoughts on yesterday's huge movement that is grossly affecting relationships, art, money, titty tassels, all of it. Venus moved into Leo. And I kind of want to know what your thoughts are on that, because even though nothing is happening today, yesterday and today are saturated with Venus in Leo vibes. And I want to see what Matt has to say about that aspect.
Yeah. Well, of course, Venus can be money or romance. I find the romance thing more interesting to talk about on this show than the money piece. Leo is obviously, there's, the ego element to it. Leo wants attention. Leo wants the spotlight. Leo can be a bit proud, so Leo does not like to be, I don't want to say humid, but doesn't like to be shown to be wrong or put in any kind of negative light. But Leo is also generous, but I feel like it's kind of like a give to get type thing. So I would say in any romantic or relationship space, relationships are going to require lots of attention right now. So starting yesterday, don't ignore your significant relationships because there's going to be a need for attention. But remember, that also goes both ways. So don't, be all giving and not receiving.
Don't just expect it. Yeah, don't just expect it. That's kind of fun. I knew I was getting more dick pics than usual today. No, I'm kidding. I work in sex treatment, guys. So I get to watch the text streams of people and talk with probation on how people are. And let me tell you, the psychological people watching that is probation. Venus and Leo was a lot of domestic disputes, a lot of relationship breakups this weekend where clients were like, oh my God, people losing their shit, people freaking out, people strangling people, people punching people, people breaking up with people getting people pregnant. A lot of, I'm taking all your, take the money and run. And then Venus and Leo. Venus and Leo vibes. So with that in mind, for those of you who are new to the show, get out a piece of paper. Don't waste this opportunity to sharpen your psychic skill. Don't do it. Instead, take out a piece of paper like the rest of us. 1, 2, 3. Put 3 little dots down and start prepping out your week, journaling, manifesting, writing it down, seeing your own intuitive guides. Because 3 things are going to happen tomorrow, Wednesday, June 7th. So I'm going to say Wednesday, June 7th. The first thing with that Venus vibe that you just described, Matt, because that's what I wanted, is I wanted to kind of get on that wavelength. Tomorrow, the first thing that's going to happen. What? That can't be. I like how your head tilted.
Yeah, I did the dog. I'm sorry. I did. My dogs do that.
You did.
When you say something they're trying to understand, I see that sign.
Man, my Virgo just saw a typo, freaked out because see, we didn't even announce it, and Matt's head just tilted, and I knew that there was a typo. Dang. Boop. There we go. Doesn't that feel better? No. There it is. Venus from Cancer into Leo, now squaring the North Node in Gemini.
This is a weird one.
My farmer's almanac just said the North Node in Gemini is telling you to keep both ears open. But what say you?
This is one of these weird ones because I usually do kind of the square and sextile by the signs. This is one of those by the math. They're the right distance apart to be declared square, even though usually square is, hopefully, see if this makes sense. You have your yin signs and your yang signs. So you have water and earth, and you have air and fire. And then you have fixed, mutable, and cardinal. You're always square if it's the opposite sign or opposite, yin or yang, the same mode. So like Taurus is fixed earth.
Fixed.
Leo is fixed fire. They're square. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Virgo's mutable earth. So it will be square to Gemini and Sag. That's just an easy way to think of it. This is a weird one because this is by math. They're square. But these are usually aren't energy. These usually aren't energies that will like oppose each other because they're usually kind of, Gemini and Leo, air and fire. There's more synergy there. So this is gonna be a little weird. So prefacing that as I try to mentally hash this out. So we already talked about what Venus and Leo is. Square is kind of tension between the two, kind of a conflict between the two. North node's kind of, I always view it like in your life. South node is your what you come into this life with a PhD in, and your north node's kind of your syllabus, what you need to learn. So in this case, north node, there's kind of just this overall universe leaning towards that Gemini energy, which is extroverted, a little bit flighty. I don't mean that in a bad way, but Gemini is trying to figure out which way they're going. So there's a large amount of indecisiveness with Gemini combined with some exploration, and that is having a conflict with this romance in this more attention-seeking space. So how I would interpret this is some things you feel you may need for growth, some things you may need for fulfillment that you're trying to figure out may not sync well with your relationships. So this is the people that need to decide, do I, take the career job on the other side of the country and possibly, lose my significant other, or, do I quit my job for my significant other, or, just fill in the blank. But it's that kind of thing. It's trying to decide kind of life's path that may look like it's coming into conflict with your relationship.
Man, is that just amazing to hear that. Because it's so, when you say mathematical synergy, that really is playing out a lot in the scenarios that I see around me and just around. So I feel that. I'm writing that into my spaces, predictions, just really being able to pay attention. The first day of school is always really fun. When you give that analogy of the syllabus, I think of orientation. I think of having this opportunity that you're seeing people around you on orientation. Who's there to be serious? Who's there? Who's lost? Who's there to quit? Who's there to finish? Take a look around that social space and listen. A lot of good listening here, I think. Then we're going to add on the next thing, because there's 3 dots for Wednesday. The next not so huge. Oftentimes Matt is kind of mentioning the subtleties of the moon. But those feelings, the moon feelings, waning in Aquarius. How do you read this?
Yeah, so you already prefaced it that the moon ones change very frequently. So these are kind of passing little subtle kind of tweaks to what's going on energetically. But Aquarius is rebellious. It's kind of outside the box. It's kind of shaking things up. So a little bit of an emotional thing to maybe do things in non-traditional ways, kind of shake things up. It's a little innovative. So, I guess kind of related to what we just already said about this kind of conflict, you may see people getting a little nudge to, if they're trying to make that choice, their path versus their relationship, people may get a nudge towards the less traditional of the two choices, whatever that may be. You could, that can be either side of that equation depending on the circumstances, but it would be a little nudge to be a little unconventional.
A nudge to do. That's really crazy. Just because I had written down the passing storms. The sun is drying up all the rain, but just like that song, the itsy bitsy spider come up the sun again. It's that nudge to do that the rainstorm pushes you or moves you, and often you're going to move right back up into that space again. Maybe you don't, maybe you learn, maybe you won't, maybe it's different. Kind of feeling that water, rain, energy, passing, emotional. I like that you used innovative. That's a good way to use it. The last thing to happen on Wednesday night, the sun, which is in Gemini, is going to be sextile Lilith. I know we don't do a lot with Lilith. I really don't. But I didn't want to, be in here and not mention it as far as, usually we've got a range of people in here who are astrologers, astronomers, not just an amateur like myself, but doing things quite seriously. So I didn't want to leave it out. It was mentioned on the Farmer's Almanac that the Lilith, the farthest point of the moon's elliptical orbit. So if you're one of those mathematical guys like Matt, it's a high feminine. The high feminine, right? I always think of Thecla or Jezebel's in the Bible. Lilith in the Bible, maybe even. These stories, are they true? Are they not? The castaway woman who's being disobedient, the shadow work. What do you think when you think of the Sun in Gemini, sextile Lilith in Leo?
I may get people commenting because I don't dabble in these as much, so I may misspeak. But I always thought that Lilith was kind of a little more of the, to use your word, shadow work or shadow side of things. And so, if that again, if kind of your shadow side wants attention, sextile synergy. With this, extroverted energy again in this very extroverted kind of exploring, feeling things out space. So this could be a nudge to explore things that feed someone's dark side. So however you want to look at that too. These are kind of spicy energies so far.
I know. It makes me really, really nervous. And there's these little pocket holes that we don't often see in astrology. Man, I can tell I'm slowing my pace down as I speak because I feel my heartbeat pumping through my body. And I'm like, this shouldn't have lasted 19 minutes. It should be over by now. And then my body's like, no, you're really having a panic attack. It's okay. So you'll hear me kind of doing that, like therapeutic talking out loud. It's totally me. Anyway,
it was such a yin and yang because you have the anxiety thing going on, and like I said, I was totally out of energy. I was like ready to go to bed at like 5 tonight. So
we do that, but in this energy, when I am like this, I want to crash. I want to go to bed. I want to wake up and just feel better, feel different, have this be over with, because nothing you do really helps. Like nothing I do helps. I don't know, you can take a cold shower and stuff like that, but since I'm on a work trip, I'm not in the home space to do like comforting things. And Chopped on the little TV is not cutting, no pun intended, the intrusive thoughts of how dirty the remote is. Like it's just not. So there's just those things. But anyway, so the last little thing to mention are these little pockets. These pockets don't happen very often where no major astrological movements are happening on any particular day. And in the next week, we have a few pockets. Thursday is one of them. So Thursday, after you have this, maybe somebody feeding your dark side, nudging you to do things, maybe you did, or maybe you didn't, or maybe the people around you did, or maybe they didn't. But on Thursday, it will be very quiet. Nothing major is happening. So you kind of take that and you go, okay, well then, Friday always
say real quick. So Thursday is kind of like if you have a sailboat and there's absolutely no wind. So I know this isn't really a sailboat, but I mean, I guess you could like paddle or row towards somewhere, but there's no energetic push towards anything.
Right.
It just is what it is.
We're just there. We're just here. We're just in the being, which is like, okay, what happens Friday then? Friday's going to have Friday energy. Friday's going to be a Friday. You know what I mean? Maybe a Halls will help me. They're so strong. Friday, one thing happens. It's only one thing.
Your favorite.
Mercury's in Taurus. Oh, I got to push the button. Hold on. What? Where is it? There it is. Mercury in Taurus. Sextile Neptune and Pisces. One of my least favorite movements. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
You love Neptune and Pisces. Well, Mercury's communication. Taurus is stable and indulgent. So I'd say communication and stubborn. So people are not going to move off their position. And Neptune is kind of dreams, deceptions. What you see isn't necessarily what's real. And Pisces is kind of that psychological introspective space. So I view this as people are gonna like double down on their delusions and just not budge communication wise. So if somebody's Friday's not the day to try to convince somebody of something that they, that's something they believe in is wrong, because people are going to be entrenched in their positions, communicating those positions, even if the logic behind them is flawed. People are going to see what they want to see, and they are not going to change their mind.
Unmoving water is very dangerous, as we all know.
Okay, I got to say this again. I always get called out by the field goal. What did I say that was bad about Pisces?
Did you say something bad?
I don't know. The Pisces people always get upset when I talk about Pisces.
They're just emotional. I got to take that out.
Well, I could say, maybe you're missing the Neptune piece, because Neptune's all about kind of dreams and, not seeing what is real. All I said about Pisces was that it's introspective and very kind of so it's the Neptune piece here that's the problem. But
it is, and it is the Neptune piece.
I like water signs, but Pisces and Scorpios get whenever I talk about either one of those signs, they get pissed.
Don't get pissed, guys. It's not personal. And I think about Neptune, I think about the LSD album that the Beatles did when they went to India. Man, their music really changed. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, to Lucy in the sky with diamond, and like just kind of weird and wild, just a little wonky, just a little funky, just a little out there, just a little different. So keep that in mind for the energy to expect on Friday, and it's a Friday. So you know what that means if you're a parent, anybody. It's a Friday. People are going to be losing it a little bit. Okay, Saturday. And this is why I think it's interesting where these pockets are showing themselves. Saturday is another pocket where nothing happens.
So you could have that big argument on Friday about this position that somebody's not going to, change their mind on. And, like maybe somebody's going to totally like leave everything behind and go off to California to be an actor. And, you try to convince them that, this isn't a smart idea, and they'll just double down on it. And the Saturday's going to be the day where everybody's going to be radio silent.
And that person will be halfway to California because they're going anyway.
And I just wanted to add, because I find this kind of funny. I feel like I'm hardest on Aries out of all the signs, but then when you really think about Aries isn't going to give a crap. So they're not even going to get offended in the things. They just don't. They're not going to care what you say about them anyway.
They're on fire.
Yep.
They're on fire, and they're going to do it.
And I mean no disrespect to them. I just feel like if I had to critique myself, I feel like my commentary on the signs, I feel like Aries is I'm the least complimentary towards, but they don't care. It's always the water signs that get mad.
It's emotional feelers, man. Those emotional water people. Just so you know, guys, this is me at like really low. This is me like blinking at bad. I know Matt has seen me at pretty bad before. I don't know if I've had like a bad night on camera in a long time where I can feel my body shaking. So if you're so blessed as to be joining us live in the chat room, I deeply apologize that I am just not with it as usual. Usually I'm mostly with it, but I can feel myself like dissociating into the panic, and I don't want to do that. Usually this helps me, and so I'm gonna keep going. We're doing it, but I feel very guilty, like not being 100% present. So just sharing that for those listening that also go through this, you know what that's like. Saturday, nothing, no wind in the sails. But Sunday, boom, 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 boom. Four
things. Wow.
4 big things.
One's going to be a moon, though.
Maybe not. We'll see.
It's every 2 to 3 days. I feel like we're due for the moon to go to Pisces.
Here we go. This is Sunday Fun Day. First thing that happens Taurus, Sunday in Taurus. Really, Sarah? Mercury in Taurus. I typed over it because I am not even able to see the screen. That's where my vision is going. It's like panning out on me. Mercury is in Taurus. Ooh, that's 2 times the Earth sign, baby. And it's trine Pluto in Capricorn. So goals, growth, accomplishment, all these big themes. Matt, what do we expect?
Pay attention on Sunday, because since Pluto's that big, profound changes, and this, the trying the, I should say that synergy. Sextile is more removing obstacles. This synergy here is, so people in this Taurus, very stubborn space, are going to communicate exactly what they want and exactly what they're going to do, and exactly the changes that they want to go forward in, and they don't give a crap. They're going to forge ahead and do it. So this is one where I know you ask a lot what to expect in the political space. This is one when you're looking for like policy or intentions, both kind of macro on the world scale, different governments, but even on the micro scale in your own life, people are going to pretty much declare what they intend to do, and they're going to be pretty entrenched in it. So people are going to kind of forge down paths and kind of burn the bridges behind them on Sunday. So pay attention to what people are saying, because they mean what they say, and it's going to be significant.
So mote it be, is what I had written in my case note for that day. To think about your goals and accomplishments, and so mote it be. So when I hear you saying paths will be forged and bridges may be burned, there we go. Policy
Cross the Rubicon Sunday. That's what I'll call it.
Rubicon Sunday. Okay, man, I'm really holding on by the seat of my panties. Here we go.
You're fine.
The next
You're
thing.
Fine. I'll just.
I know we're doing fine. I'm great.
We're
doing good. You're so thankful. I'm so thankful. Okay, retrograde Pluto bounces back into Capricorn. Boom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Retrograde Pluto re-entering Capricorn. Man, so that's going to be an ordeal. What does that mean?
So yeah, when I said that, when we talked about this at the beginning of the year, I thought that little brief time when it was in Aquarius, you were going to get some hints as to some of the changes and some of the kind of revolutionary things that people were going to be trying to do. And now this is going to be this brief little flashback where the rules folks clamp down on it. So doesn't mean those changes won't come eventually, but this is a little bit of the smackdown on, you think you're going to do this? No. So yeah, look for a little bit of a pushback on some changes that people were pushing for.
Okay. My computer glitched there for a second, so hopefully I'm still with you. Am I still with you?
Yep,
okay.
You are.
And I'll just, don't jinx it, Sarah. Man, this is going to be a big thing. Put to rest is what I had written in for that Pluto re-entering Capricorn. But then the other thing happening, keep it going. Two more things. It's real. Is this happening? Then we've got this. Then Mercury moves out of where it's at and moves into Gemini. Mercury in Gemini, which we've talked a lot about the Gemini vibes, how our communication moves in that space. Does that seem right to you? You're wincing.
Yeah, no, I'm making just connections of where I think this is going. So.
Okay, don't let it.
Yeah, it's no.
So Mercury and Gemini.
You're seeing a little bit. I feel like I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, and that always bugs the perfectionist piece in me. Because Mercury is, communication in this kind of which way do I go space. I feel like this is going to usher in on the same day that everybody's very stubbornly declaring which way we're going. after those things are declared, that Rubicon's crossed, the bridges are burned, there's now going to enter into this period of debate over whether we should have done it. It's almost like the second guessing nature, and people starting to, so, everybody's like, and they go do it in the morning, and then by the evening, people start second guessing it. But it's too late at this point because the path's already forged.
The damage is already done. You're already halfway to California. You might even already be there by now. Sunday night. One last thing happens. I don't know, is it the last thing? I think it is. Hang in there, Sarah. You got this. I'm going to push enter.
I find this one funny.
Oh. Venus and Leo.
I feel like that's the romantic wanting attention, running into conflict of, Jupiter's like opportunity, but Taurus is just, we're not changing anything. So it's like the romantic, we want to get out of the rut, but that rut is just deep. And so everything's going to move against getting out of that rut. So this is I want, one partner wants to go out and have fun and go out on the town, and the other partner just wants to stay home on the sofa in their pajamas and watch TV.
And both have their points and both have their positions. There's no right or wrong in this. That's what's so important to think about. That Jupiter and Taurus, it just wants more of what it wants. And it wants what it wants. So Mary, Dolly, thank you guys for joining us. We always appreciate you guys seeing everybody in the chat room. If you're just now joining us and you're a regular, Matt's coaching me through a panic attack. Man, it's been going for 34 minutes, but I was an hour into it before the show. And, I always think about, man, do I want to cancel? I don't ever want to cancel the show. And Matt and I, gosh, unless we're working or it's family, we don't usually. So really doing our best here. Matt, thank you so much.
You're doing great.
Monday.
On my end, and I'm doing this partially just to take the focus off you on this, is, there's times we do the show where I'm like really like feel like I'm energetic and animated, and we'll just talk like crazy and feel like that. And as synergy works out and stuff, I'm like on empty. I'm like, it's been a draining couple of weeks. I'm slogging through as well. It's just part of what's cool with the show is we're kind of like the yin and yang of our approach on everything on this. And even tonight we're on energetically different ends of the spectrum here. So
we're working it. And that's true. We do. I like, that's one of the reasons I love you and I doing the show together, is that different perspective that it provides. It's important to see Gemini in two ways, or Aries in two different ways, that you talk about it and you hear the different ways that it's being discussed, and then you find what identifies with you and take those generalized themes and apply it. Okay, guys. Monday. Don't do it to me, universe. One more. Third pocket of nothing significant happening after a Sunday with 4 astrological movements. That none of them were the moon, by the way, I don't think. So
yeah, that's weird. The moon's got to move Tuesday then, because it's like every 3 days. I feel like we're due for a moon to move.
Well, and I don't always put them on there either, because I don't always feel like they're that significant.
So I agree.
What do we have
for
Tuesday? Only one thing happening on Tuesday. Man, Matt, you said it. How'd you know? It is just a small thing to finish out the week. Tuesday, the moon is waning in Taurus. Does that make sense to you?
No. We may have missed.
Should I double check?
We may have missed some moon movements. I thought you had it in Aquarius earlier.
I did. So let's look at the planets today.
Skip 2 signs, or it's off.
Well, hold on. So let's do it. Today's the 6th. 8, 9.
pull up my little
10. Luna is an Aquarius.
put on my old man
Pisces on the 10th.
What day is the 10th?
Pisces on the 10th.
Which day is
And it's in Aries.
Yeah, so Pisces
It's
is
in
Friday.
Aries.
So these are some of your voids that you were saying. So there are little moon things that pop in. So the 10th, that's Friday, right? Is that Friday?
Yeah.
Monday. Or I mean,
Okay, so repost.
no, Saturday. If the 10th is Saturday, then that would be emotion in this introspective space. So just a little bit of an emotional nudge. And then when does it go into Aries? Tuesday? Okay.
On the 12th.
Yeah, and then so
12th to the 13th.
That gets more into that very assertive. It's the first sign. So I would say it's kind of like that middle school boy energy of just, we don't think past 1 week, we just do. And we might do some assertive, crazy stuff, not thinking of the downstream consequences of it. So that's an interesting, not so much the Saturday one, but the moon in Aries on Tuesday coming after that Pluto and all the big, declaring we're going to do stuff on Sunday. That could be very interesting. I feel like that's an emotional just screw it. Yeah, we are doing it. So you might have that little debate, but then it's like, yeah, we'll do it anyway. What could happen?
Emotions on high. Okay. Taking those planets off. Okay, guys, now we've had the show going for 40 minutes, and usually when we get to the end, we do free readings or we chit chat for a little bit to fill the gap, especially on short weeks like this week. I don't know if it's good for me to stay and do that knowing that I don't have all my energy and focus, or if we just do moderation and cut it short with some of the technical difficulties as well. Since we are done, we did the week. Man, did it
My gut is you should do self-care. So unless doing that in this kind of ad lib space, which that seems like something I'm more comfortable in than you are, unless that helps you, I would take this time and regroup.
Yeah. And prep for the week and just kind of get things going. And for those people maybe struggling through some anxiety with me, maybe it is astrological or solar flares or all the collective consciousness. But I always appreciate you guys being here for me and this opportunity to do things and your patience with me when I'm not 100%. I do appreciate it. But Matt, I'll let you send us out if you want. And then if you guys want personal readings or have questions, please let us know. I'll put some in the chat room of where to find us.
Yeah, so there'll be no Sunday Night Dead. I'm traveling as well again, so there'll be no Sunday Night Dead next week. But we talked about the lady at the fire lookout person that vanished. That was this past week. So if you missed it, check it on out. Give our channels a like. However you're watching this, thumbs up, all those things. It helps. Sarah, I hope you are feeling better. I'm honestly going to go to bed.
Cold water. Do it, yeah.
But anyway, guys, thank you as always for joining us, and we'll be back next week. Talk to you all soon.
Thank you, guys.